Hello. Welcome back to another episode here of Mayhem on the Mic. We are your hosts. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Kim.
We're super excited today. We have our very first guest.
Yeah, it's like
Look at
we've
us.
been waiting, our fourth episode we're recording.
Yeah, this is number 4.
And we have our first guest already. That's so exciting.
We're not in our normal comfy, cozy club chairs.
No, not today.
But that's all right. So I think it's really cool because our last episode, I got a little bit of heat because I said that men are babies when they're sick. And I even said, I'm like, oh God, we're going to get canceled for this.
We did say that.
And then whatever, I don't care. So for the 2 or 3 of you that protested that, good for you. For the rest of you, start learning something new. On that note, we're going to bring in a guest today. We have a male influence here with us
Look
today.
at that.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, it'll be fun and nice to see from a male perspective, what their thoughts on, and he can give us a little insight because we're everything staying on from a woman's perspective, from
Yes.
a mom's perspective. So it'll be nice to have a male.
Yes, and I'm always saying, like, I don't want to be like a she-woman man hater.
Right.
That's not who I am. Yeah, that's not who we are.
Absolutely.
That's not the goal here. But sometimes I have a little bit of a biased perspective because I'm a woman.
Go through a lot.
I've been through it, okay?
We go through a lot. A lot of things men can't handle.
So yes, it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to bring him in. We're going to talk about his specialties and his professional life.
100%.
And our favorite topic is how do we balance?
How do we balance it all, right?
So his, what he goes through and how his perspectives of owning his businesses, starting a business, and being a dad and a husband and navigating those points of life. And, it's not always easy.
Yeah,
to
I know.
do that.
We spoke about it last episode as a mom, how hard it is, but dads go through it too.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice to have that conversation, and we'll touch on a few things. Also key pointers, educational, just some things to kind of keep in mind to help. But it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think that for us, with Latin, the perspective of the Latin culture, the men are the breadwinners,
right?
And so I was definitely raised in a household where, my mom worked, but for the most part, she had all those household duties, and my father went out and made the money.
Yeah, culturally,
that was acceptable for him to go out and make the money,
right,
and come home and.
Yeah, my mom was a stay-at-home mom too.
Yeah.
He actually, they used to live out in Queens, and when they moved out to the island, she wanted to start working. She didn't even know how to even drive, my mom. Because, in Queens, you don't need a car.
I feel like took my mom a minute too.
When that kind of went into play, my dad wasn't too thrilled about it. But she was like, she was bored at home too.
Once you get the whip, you're out.
And when she started learning how to drive,
I'm taking these kids with me everywhere.
You couldn't stop her. You couldn't tell her nothing.
Yeah.
And now she's like a great, one of the hardest working women I've ever met.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Yeah, it's
culturally,
it's
a lot of things are affected.
Yeah, it's different. But I think that it's nice. We can kind of discuss, what he may have been used to seeing,
right,
and how that has brought him to want to be a certain type of partner and want to be a certain type of father based on his experiences in his own personal life. And I think that that's really important for us to not be that token product of our environment. It's very easy to say I'm like this because this is what I saw my parents do.
Right, you don't want to be a
like
product
this
of your environment.
This is the life that I grew up in, or this is everything that I saw. At some point in our lives, we have to take accountability for ourselves and say, you know what? This is what I saw my whole life. This is what I experienced, but this is not the life that I want to live. This is not how I want to parent. This is not how the type of partner I want to be.
And that's the choice you have to want to have too.
You have to,
because some people, that's all they know.
Yeah.
And they literally are a product of their environment.
But I hear people make that excuse.
No, right. I do 100%. But I feel like some people are just so stuck in that because of what they're surrounded by that there is no growth around them. So that's who they are and that's who they become even as an adult.
Right.
And that's what they teach their kids because this is what I know. This is how I grew up. This is, again, the product of an environment. It's such a cliche like slogan, but it really is that. Like, you're a product of what you grew up, of what you know, of what you're taught, of what you saw. You know, so I think that it's at the end of the day, it is a choice you have to make.
Right.
And do you want to do better, or are you going to just continue that same path?
And I think also developing emotional intelligence as we become adults and you mature, you become emotionally more intelligent, and you can say
For some.
Yeah.
For some.
We can't include everybody. We'd love to, but it just doesn't work that way.
Realistically speaking, for some.
Yeah, you should learn.
Right.
You grow, you mature, you become more emotionally mature, and you're able to make new decisions for yourself. And you're able to change the path and, you know, just do it differently.
Right.
You do it differently, you know? And if you came from sunshine, butterflies, and rainbows, and you're going to continue that journey.
I love that for you.
Yeah. That is wonderful as well.
Yeah, that is.
But
some of us aren't.
Unfortunately, we don't all come from that.
Right.
We don't all come from that. So it's great to see somebody changing the dynamic
100%.
and of what you've already been predisposed to, and
making
doing
that
it
decision
different.
to do something better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Because either you're going to learn from it or you're going to continue it.
Right.
Which one are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which path are you taking?
Are you talking to me? God damn it.
Which path are you taking, Sophia?
All right. Jesus Christ. We already spoke. I'm going to be early from now on. Stop it already.
You were actually early today.
I know. 2 minutes.
Doing
2
better.
minutes.
Do better.
All
do
of
better.
you that came for me in my DMs because I said that I was late. Here I am. I was 2 minutes early.
You see, we're growing.
Yeah. So on that note, we're going to take a small, tiny break, and we will be back with our guest.
No es cuestión de contradicción. Aquí está la mejor programación. Latino Mixx. Dale play a tu bocina.
And we're back here at Mayhem on the Mic. So here we are. We're going to sit in and welcome our first new guest, right? His name is Omar. Omar, just to kind of give you an overview, a little bit of our guest today. He's a dad, real estate agent, multiple business owner, and here he is. We're going to sit here and welcome him to our fourth episode. Welcome to Mayhem on the Mic.
Hey guys. Thank you so much for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
I feel like there's might be a little bit of pressure here because you're not just our first guest, but you're also a guy.
Okay.
Right.
You're a man.
Okay.
This is like the greatest thing ever for me because I'm like, I don't hate men, guys. We are welcomed here on our show, and we're very excited. Yes,
well,
we're
it's
very
been
excited.
very welcoming, and I greatly appreciate being here.
Yeah.
Thank you. We
Awesome.
appreciate it.
Been very high vibrations.
Have you ever been on a podcast before?
This is actually my first, so you guys are popping my cherry.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God. That's exactly what I said. When we went on Chick Chats with Anna.
Okay.
And that
to
was
kinda
our first time ever.
Yeah, intro
Okay.
in. It was like our first podcast, and she's like, "Have you ever done this before?" And I'm like, "No, you're popping our podcast cherry."
Podcast cherry.
You're already in there. You're already in with us.
Absolutely. Dope. Yeah.
So, yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, definitely.
How would you introduce yourself?
Yeah,
Tell us
tell us
about
a little about yourself.
What do you want us to know?
So first and foremost, I'm a strong believer and follower of God, you know, Jesus Christ. And I'm a married man. Iman is my wife, and we have 4 beautiful children, 3 boys and 1 girl.
Nice.
From the ages of 13 all the way down to 4. He'll be 4 this June.
Okay.
You know, I'm a real estate agent. I started out in real estate, started investing first. Formerly a New York State corrections officer, own a security company, notary public, signing agent.
You do it all.
I mean, I strive.
Checking the boxes.
Yeah, I strive.
I think that happens when you work in real estate. It's like notary kind of.
Yes,
you need
yes,
a
it goes
notary,
hand
so
in
it's
hand.
like you start,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yep.
doing that kind of thing.
Absolutely, goes hand in hand. Yeah, and, you know, just striving to make a difference in the world, you know, one day at a time, doing my job to better myself in order to better certain situations. So, you know, that's really who I am in a small little synopsis.
Awesome.
All right.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And we're just going to jump you right in here.
I know, we're just going to go right in.
Yeah, we're going to go right in.
Let's do it.
So on our last episode, we spoke about, you know, the balancing act of being a mom. So we're just going to rope you right into that. You know, that balancing act of being a dad, that perspective.
Right.
Balancing your work life. Obviously, you own a few businesses, your husband. So, you know, what I would like to know from that male perspective is how do you feel I don't want to say like, yes, it's a responsibility, but it's almost like what people expect you
Okay.
to fulfill.
Okay.
You know, versus how that dynamic might actually be for you in your home.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I could care less what anybody else expects. You know,
But that's
all
because
it's
you've
about-
gotten to this point.
Yeah,
But
even before when I
initially
was,
you were always like
I'm
that?
gonna be honest with when I was younger and things. I could care less about what people thought about me in a sense. You
Yeah.
know, I try to treat people as best as I possibly can. I always treat people how I want to be treated. But as
Very
far
big
as
on
my
that.
as far as my success and things, I've always just strived to do better and do more.
Right.
You know, sometimes I get a little bit overwhelmed because I'm doing a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, but I come from a background where there wasn't a lot, you know, so with me having children when I didn't even think I was going to have children, didn't want children, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, for me to have 4.
Another one.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I don't want those kids.
Yeah, you know, well, it wasn't in the sense of not wanting children. It was in the sense of more so feeling like I wasn't going to be able to do the job.
Okay.
Right? And I didn't want to continue the cycle. So me personally, I just really thought the easy way out was not having children at
Right.
all, you know?
You know, I think that's a very real statement,
Right.
because I didn't hear that. I never heard that before. Obviously, I come from, you know, Latin culture. I'm Puerto Rican. I was raised where there was an expectation that you were going to have children.
Kids.
And even for the guys in our family, I think that was never a question. Until, you know, recently, I would say in the past like 5-6 years, I've heard men say like, I don't want to have kids because I don't know if that's for me.
Right,
and then
right.
when you dig a little bit deeper, you find out like maybe they just didn't have that male role model,
Absolutely.
that father figure in their life. Or some people look at it as a perspective of like, this world is going to shit. I don't want to bring kids into this world.
Right, that's another,
You know?
yeah, that's absolutely
When you're
part of it
very
as well.
aware of the things that are
That's
going on in the
going on,
world,
yeah, you
it
know.
can be very scary.
When
a
I
fear.
first had, my wife and I had our first child, Zion, when I tell you that was probably one of the scariest things that I ever experienced,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
with all of the videos that you started to see with, you know, some of our people getting hurt
Right.
and killed and things on. And that was one of the reasons why I became a law enforcement officer,
Yeah.
is because I felt like maybe I can possibly help
Right.
a little
Make some
bit,
type of
make some
difference.
kind of difference,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So, you know, that was definitely a scary thing. And that was definitely one of my perspectives. This was like, yo, what am I doing bringing a child into this world?
Right.
Because if someone was to do anything to one of my children, I would go
Right.
crazy. You know, it would be a very bad situation for a lot of people.
I
you know?
since my
Yeah.
kids are little, I tell them, I'm like, you better not act up. Don't do anything crazy, because
Right.
if somebody says something to
Exactly.
you, now I have to say, I have to get crazy,
Exactly.
you know?
I
And
know.
it's like,
And
It's funny because just yesterday I was actually having a conversation with my 12-year-old, right? He's complaining about his teacher. And I'm
Okay.
like, you know, I'm like, all right, whatever. And then at the same time, I'm like, listen, like, don't make me go crazy on this.
don't make
like,
me have to
listen.
go up there
think
and
about
say
this
something.
before you want me to go over there and do something
I
or
have to
say
talk
something.
to my wife all the time,
you know?
because as soon as my sons come in that house and say anything
I know.
about anybody,
Yeah.
she is Mama Bear.
Yeah.
She plays absolutely no games.
I know my fiance says I'm very possessive with my kids.
Yeah.
He's like, you're selfish and you're greedy with your kids. And
absolutely.
I'm like, of course I am.
Yeah.
They're mine.
Right.
Yeah.
My wife is the same way.
They're
Believe
mine.
me, I
He
get
goes,
it.
no,
I
he's mine.
understand.
I'm like, no.
Yeah, that was one of the struggles that we had, especially early in our relationship and early in our marriage, with having our first son.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like, this is mine. He came from my body.
Right.
And it was like a power struggle in
Yeah.
the sense that, like, this is my child too.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
helped create him, you know.
You
so,
needed me to create him.
in order to get him
Yeah.
here, you
Right.
needed me,
No,
you know. So
100%.
yeah, so it was definitely a struggle at it. But you know, again, we're all learning, and it's something that we grew together and
Right.
been able to learn together and grow together in that aspect of life, because we both was new parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we both seen things that probably wasn't great growing up and stuff, and she wanted what's best for him, and I wanted what's best for him or for
Right.
all of our children, and you know, we just have our own ways of going about it, right?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
yeah, but she's definitely a mama bear.
Yeah. I feel like
Aren't we all?
that's the beauty of a relationship. When you're able to have a healthy relationship with your partner and you start bringing children in, and you can find that healthy balance and where you each like fall into the dynamic of like, yeah, you know what, this I may want it this way, but I see your,
Right.
you know, how
Right.
you want it,
Well,
and you're able
that's
to
a work
kinda,
in progress too, right?
It always is.
That's gonna always be a work in
that's a
progress,
work in
no matter
progress
how many
too.
years.
But
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
really is a beautiful thing, because sometimes
Yes,
you
it
can learn a new perspective. You can learn a new way to tackle
Right.
certain
Right.
things, and like reflect on it. and
Right. So
just
what I tell
do
people a
little
lot
better.
of the times is, you know, if my wife and I don't agree on anything, we definitely agree on how much we love our kids and how much we want better for our children.
Right.
You know, so that is definitely the one caveat that we definitely have. And then the fact that we put God first in everything. You know, God is in everything that we do. So,
Right.
so yeah, that's definitely part of it. You know, so
yeah,
yeah,
it definitely helps.
Yeah.
Definitely.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So how do you feel? I'm gonna say, like, how do you feel for you? I know your kids like play sports and do different things. How do you, since you're working, I think you told me your wife works from home.
Yes, she works
from
for
home.
So
TV Bank.
how are you guys like balancing the like activities?
I don't know. No.
Right. So yeah, like, do you guys struggle with making family time?
At times, you know, we go to church every Sunday, so
Okay.
that's definitely a time that we spend often together, and we'll go out to eat afterwards or something like that.
Okay.
But I force my kids to sit down and watch movies with us.
That's
you know?
good.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
good though, 'cause
Yeah.
you don't see that anymore.
No.
Kids, everyone's doing their own thing.
Yeah, they don't want to.
They don't
you know,
want
they
to.
don't. My oldest son, especially, he's definitely a loner. Like he'll be in a room and chill and be on his tablet or whatever, and you might not see him for hours.
He's 13, you said?
He'll be 13
He'll be
this
13.
year.
Yeah,
exactly.
he's in,
Yeah.
like, you have a 12-year-old.
I have a 12-year-old. He's the same way too. He'd
I
be
have
on
a
his
15-year-old.
phone, and just like we're talking to him, and it's like talking to the wall.
Yes.
I'm like, hello, like you
Yeah.
need Earth to
Right,
Jaden.
right.
Like let's come over here, talk to me, get off your phone. Like they zombie out
Yes,
so
yeah.
bad.
Yeah, my 15-year-old, that's a girl for me, and she's just always in her room.
Okay.
You know, she's both my two oldest are girls. They're always in their rooms.
Okay.
If the only time they come out is when they need something or they want something.
Right.
And I'm like, can we just sit and have a meal together? And I was raised eating meals with my family.
Okay.
Like we all sat down and we
Right,
ate a meal.
right.
To this day, oh my God, on Mother's Day, my sister was like, Mom, if they don't want to sit and eat, like when they're hungry, they'll eat. But
Right, right.
that my mother didn't
We
do
didn't.
that.
Yeah,
Right,
that
right.
didn't happen.
You know,
when we were
we came when she cooked.
Everybody had to come. sit
Everybody
down
sat
and
and we ate,
Right.
you know, with the exception of my father if he was out to work.
Right,
but like for
right,
the
right.
most part, like the kids, we all sat and we ate
Right,
with
right,
her.
right.
Don't you hate too when you're eating and then it's like you're at the dinner table, whatever even if you're at a restaurant, I hate when you go out to eat and it's like I'm very big on that with my kids too. It's like we're out eating and it's like put your phone down.
Oh yeah.
Put your you know what?
This is a rough one
Yeah, I was gonna say I
because
get
adults do this too,
Right,
and it
absolutely.
drives
we're
me
guilty of that
insane.
too. So
Especially
I
when
say
you're
that
running businesses
I
and
even
things.
tell. But you know what? Even so, you still have to be able to disconnect yourself a little bit
Absolutely.
and dedicate that time because whether you're at a restaurant or you're at home or in your living room, whatever it is with your family, disconnect from that phone.
So what I did started to do is my phone shuts down after 7 o'clock.
Okay.
I have it where if
I'm sitting here like,
yeah, so yeah, so but
my night is just starting. I feel.
Yeah.
right. So but I still can answer. If I please. But a lot of the times the calls might not come through. I'll see a missed call or something. But I did that purposely because just like you was speaking to, us being on our phones all the time. I can't continue to tell my sons,
Right,
you're
yeah.
not
You have
supposed to
to be
do
the
this.
example.
Yeah, you got to be a lead by example. So I can't continue to tell them to do something. I'm not doing it myself.
Right.
So that was one of the reasons why I did that.
it's true. And that's amazing. So my business is a by appointment business.
Okay.
And I have people texting me, I kid you not, at like 10 o'clock at night. And so it would bother my partner,
Okay, yeah.
obviously, because I look like I'm on my phone
Right,
texting people and whatever. So I have actually made a point of like when we're out to eat or we're doing something, if I see it's a client, I will tell him like, hold on, let me just respond really quick, or it's a client, and so that he doesn't think that I'm just like bullshitting on my phone. I'm gonna take care of this really quick, and then I'm gonna give you my time and
Undivided
attention.
attention.
Like literally, he was driving me to work. I had a car issue this week. So he was driving me to work every day this week.
Okay.
And he works evenings.
Okay.
So he does not have to be up at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
But,
he did for you.
he filled that role for me. And he did that. Really appreciate it.
That's awesome.
But I took the opportunity to like follow up on all my stuff on my phone.
Wow,
so
yeah,
I'm like,
because you're not driving.
Because you're not driving.
Because I'm not
I know,
driving.
Yeah, you take advantage of the time that
and
you have. I get it.
took it for granted that he was looking forward to that time,
The conversation.
that drive to conversate with me.
Yeah.
And like I didn't realize until he kind of like I could tell he was a little bit off.
Annoyed?
Yeah. You know, his little attitude was a little off, and I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah, I get it. I get
It's
it.
too early for this.
I didn't even,
Right.
and I have a thing about my mornings. Like,
listen.
I need a zenned out morning. Like,
I'm the
don't
same
stress
way.
me.
Yeah.
But, and then he was like, no, you know, he's like, you're on your phone the whole time. And I'm like, you know, you're right. Actually, you're right. And like, I had to stop myself from being defensive about
That's
it.
awesome.
And I'm like, you know what? You're right. This is a great opportunity for us to be able to kind of like collect our thoughts and talk about the day and what's going to happen, because I work days and he works evenings.
Right.
So we're not going to talk again until 6 p.m. when he goes on his dinner
Before-
break.
right.
And then that's going to be like a short-lived conversation.
That's what. That's why I used to get beat up a lot. Well, I still do, because I'm not a real talker unless it's about business and things of that nature. And my wife, she wants to talk about
Everything and
aspect.
anything.
That's what we do.
We
Yeah,
do.
like I mean, and I get beat up.
Don't
a
get me
lot
wrong.
for that.
There's times that I don't want to talk.
Yeah, see, my
Like,
wa-
You are.
I am. There's times that I don't want to talk. There's times that, like, if I'm watching, like, if I have a moment to myself and I'm watching a show or something like that, like, and babe, I love you, but he does this all the time. Like, that's when he'll chime in to want to talk to me, and I'm like, pause,
Right,
and
right.
I'm like, and I'll listen to him, and like he'll catch on. Like,
Right.
maybe 3 minutes later, he's like, oh, am I bothering you? I'm like, I'm trying to watch my show, and I don't. He goes, you don't want to talk? All right, fine. And I'm like,
Oh my God, I do that. Now
And then
that
I
you're
feel bad,
saying
but then
it,
it's funny, right? 'Cause
No,
now-
like I'm the one talking during the
what?
the show. Like with
no,
no, not with you, but
I'm
like,
like, what?
And he'll pause it, and I'll be like, no,
No,
keep
keep
going.
watching,
And he's
right,
like, I
yeah.
can't talk
can't
to you
hear
And watch.
and
Really pay
have this
attention.
conversation with
Right,
you.
right,
But it's funny because now he's into this new show, right? This new series, and he's like zombied out in this thing, and I'm like, all right, whatever, it's not my thing. But I've caught myself
Watching.
doing what he does to
Okay,
me,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I don't do it intentionally. It's just
So you know what? Maybe it's because there's a lack of interest.
I walk in and I'm like,
of the show. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you know?
he's like this watching, and he's like, babe, come watch it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, it's all right. And then he'll sit there, and I'm like talking to him about something, and then I'll see him, and he'll do exactly what I do. He'll pause it,
Right.
and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. All right.
Yeah, my wife, she does the same thing. She has her shows though where that she definitely loves to watch. All American and This Is Us was a show. Like I couldn't stand that show. I'm sorry, it was too heavy.
I'm not a huge
was-
TV
She doesn't watch
person.
TV.
Oh, that's good. I don't either. If it ain't, if
She
it's
doesn't
not
watch
sports,
TV. She doesn't
watch TV.
Forget about it.
If it ain't sports or
Yeah.
the news, I'm
See,
not
and
watching
I'm big
it
on
either.
sports too.
Yeah,
so he's big on sports, but he's not one to sit and like watch a sport, like
Okay.
a game. I can literally sit there and just watch a full game, full blown.
Right.
And he'll be in and out. And he's like, he's like, you in sports, like now with the Knicks playing. And
Oh, yeah.
and you know, in my
I
house.
called her the other night. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like,
Watching
watching the
the
game. I'm
game?
like,
That's what's up.
what
And
game?
she's talking to me, and I'm like screaming, and
Yeah.
she's like,
Yeah.
Kim.
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
I'm
he
like,
missed
and I
that
hear
shot.
the whole thing in the back. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah,
right
we're
now?
very big. Like,
That's
I don't know. In another world, I don't know. My fiance tells me all the time. He's like, you should have been a man. I'm
Oh
like,
man, no. Yeah.
I'm very girly,
Right,
but
right.
I don't know. I've maybe growing up with sports,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
can't even say that because I was with my mom. My mom played
Yeah.
zero sports.
Okay, yeah.
I'm a super athletic
I don't
female.
know. I've always been into it.
I just can't watch it on TV. I can't.
I can't watch baseball on TV. I can watch any other sport.
I can go to like a game.
Okay.
See baseball.
Yeah, like I'll go.
right.
I'll go to a baseball game. I'll go to football games. I'll go to basketball games. Like in person, I'm in it.
I used to be able to do all of that. I just don't like being around all those people anymore. And especially having my
baseball
family and
games
stuff.
for me
yeah.
is like
You
ugh.
reach a certain point in your life where you
Yeah.
don't like
Playoffs?
crowded spaces
Yeah,
anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I could.
Yeah.
My grandfather and I used to be season ticket holders for the Jets games.
Yeah.
So we would go to the Jets games every. Oh no. No.
Oh, guys, no.
fan
Oh
here.
man, yeah. So yeah, I'm getting green all day, every day. Jets, Mets, Knicks, yeah, and Islanders, yeah. But yeah, we used to go to games all the time, and it was cool, and I enjoyed that that
They're
time.
fun.
Yeah.
But as I gotten older and stuff, I much rather be at home, be able to go to my refrigerator, get what I
Right.
want.
But you know
and
what
ain't no
though?
bunch of
Even
people.
sometimes taking your kids, because I actually asked my son the other day, I was like, "Do you want to go to a baseball game?"
Yeah.
It's fun for the kids to also like.
Right, so that's why
And
I'm
he looked
trying-
at me. He was like,
Yeah.
"Baseball? I ain't going to baseball." I'm like, Jay, it's the whole experience. Like, you know, the stadium.
Have you
and
ever
he's
been? Have you ever been to the Duck Stadium here?
No.
Neither one of you.
No.
You guys.
I've driven
I've
by.
driven past it a thousand
so
times. But
alright.
Yeah, I've driven by. but no.
Listen, Duck Stadium, we're going to contact you guys, okay? We need them to go to the stadium,
let's do it,
okay?
let's do it.
I've
never been.
gone, okay, and I'm not from Suffolk County, so moving out to Suffolk County, I'm like, okay, let me find things to do. I go to a baseball game at Duck Stadium every year.
Oh, that's awesome.
They have the most amazing fireworks. Your children will love it.
I go to 4th of July to watch their fireworks.
From the parking lot?
100%. They have an amazing.
Kimberly, I am talking about being in the stands.
They have an amazing 4th of July fireworks show, and I'm being dead serious.
I haven't been there.
No,
Yeah, I
I'm
haven't
like,
seen it.
jokes aside, they do.
Look it up. Look,
Yeah, I will.
you know,
My
and
daughter, we went to South Carolina one year for, I think it was Thanksgiving, and when I tell you them fireworks scared the mess out of her.
Really?
I had to run to the car with her because she was screaming out of her mind.
It can be scary.
She don't like loud noises. So
Yeah.
like even if you bang something on the floor or something like that, she's like,
It throws her off.
Yeah, it throws her off completely. So that constant boom, boom, boom. When I tell you, it was when I was upset because I couldn't do anything about it. You know,
Yeah.
that's shit. My princess. That's my boo.
You know, it's funny because I'm listening to you speak, and as you're talking about like not liking to be like you used to go to the games with your grandfather, but you not liking to like do that now.
Yeah.
It seems so much like when we're young, we don't have to think about being that protector.
Right, but now
we're just like la di da.
Right.
But now you're in that protector
Absolutely,
role, right? And
absolutely.
to corral multiple children and make sure that everybody is safe. And you got your eyes on your wife and you
All
got
that,
right.
It's a lot of work.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. Like I took
You
my
know what?
girls
Now
to
that I'm thinking, I think maybe that's why my fiance doesn't like to go out.
Yeah,
on the
it's
porch,
a
too.
lot
my
of work.
wife, she gets upset at me because I don't like to go to the beach. I don't like to take them to the city.
Yeah.
I will do it.
You guys can be friends. Because
Yeah.
my fiance is the same
Yeah.
way.
Yo,
He's like, you want to be everywhere and everywhere. And I'm
I don't mind. We will do it. We will do it. You know, I'll suck it up.
Push
and
yourself
stuff.
to get it done.
But I'm on high alert all
Yeah.
day,
Right.
every day.
That's
and my
what I'm
kids,
hearing,
I make
yeah.
sure that they are close by. They don't leave my side.
Yeah.
And my wife, for me, she's not aware enough. She's like, just walking.
I
and
swear, it's like I
she-
feel like I'm listening to my fiance talk to me.
she's not aware enough.
Doug
So
would definitely
Oh
be
my
saying
God,
the same
because he
thing
tells
right
me all
now.
the time, he's like, and he is that, I give him that. He's always on point. Like, he's always aware of his surroundings.
Absolutely.
And he always tells me, like, he's like, you used to be so good at that when I first met you. I'm like, well, 5 years later and a baby
Right,
later,
right.
I don't know, my
Right,
brain
right.
is like toasted. I'm like, that's probably why. But he is like that,
Yeah,
though. And I
yeah.
get it. And I don't, like, sometimes I'm like, just chill a little bit. Like,
Yeah,
even for
you know,
him. Like,
It's
I
hard to.
think
but right, he tells me, he's like,
It's
that's
hard.
just me.
Yeah, it is. Especially when you see certain things that are happening in this world right
Right.
now, it is just not an easy thing to do, especially if you love the people
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you with.
absolutely.
If somebody does something to any one of mine, it's going to
Yeah.
be problems.
I was talking with one of the girls on my job about like she was saying like normally when I'm not around my boyfriend I'm so good like I'm on point, I do everything, but when he's around I'm just like, she's like, I'm a passenger princess,
right
because he's got it, like he just takes me and he has it under control. And I'm like, is that what's happening? Like we just defer, we're like, okay, they're here, they got it, they're gonna corral the kids.
In a sense, that's
and we're
good,
kind of like,
It's good and bad, though.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
a sense,
'Cause
it's
you can't
good.
be dependent on
Right,
anybody.
right. See,
Yeah.
it's good because you have that confidence that they're going to take care
Absolutely.
of, and
Yeah.
make sure that you're good. But in a sense, the other side of it is now, I'm watching for you and me
Oh, yeah.
when you should be watching a little
him.
bit as well,
Right.
for both of us, but just for yourself or whatnot.
I definitely wanted to touch on like financial literacy
Yeah.
with our kids. I think it's really important. Like we're doing all these amazing things, now as adults and budgeting our money and doing all these, everything that we need to do in order to be successful
How do we teach our kids to
leaders
do that?
in our households,
Right.
But then our kids are just kind of like coasting along and not really learning what we
Right,
had to
right.
learn the hard way. Like I think that we should talk these numbers with our kids. We should put it into perspective with
Nah,
them.
you're absolutely right.
You
I
know?
agree with you. We haven't done that. I'm gonna be completely honest with you as far as like just going over numbers and talking to them about certain things. Again, it's a bit of a struggle because we both come from different backgrounds and
Yeah.
things. My wife, she got a lot. I might not have had as much as she did, but because I didn't have, I want to also give
everything and anything.
Yeah, I want to give everything, and she's like that as well, you know. So like birthdays and stuff, she's an event planner. She's a travel agent, so like she enjoys throwing lavish events.
But they're costly.
Yeah, they're costly, but you know, at the end of the day, she wants to, you know, pretty much she wants to do it regardless. It doesn't matter.
I'm
you
the
know.
same way too.
Yeah, but you know what? It's crazy to say that when I say it out loud, because she also is very conscious though. She thinks about you know, how things is going to be spent and where the money is going to go.
And
she's even better at it than me. She's much better than I am at it than I am. So you know, but me personally, I just don't spend. You know, I'll spend on things that is necessary.
Okay.
You know, what I deem is necessary.
What you think is necessary.
What I deem is necessary, because everybody's perspective is different, right? And that's something that I had to learn as I become an adult. You know, your perspective is different from somebody else's. It doesn't mean that they're telling a lie or you're telling a lie, but you know, everybody's perspective is different. So, you know, but she's very good at that with you know, budgeting and you know, she likes planning. I'm not a planner. Right. You know, I just get up and do. I'm a doer. You know, my nickname in college was Mr. Get It Done Junior. Yeah. You know, that was my nickname. I had a internship with a couple of different record labels and things. And J Rock, he was an executive, and he took me under his wing and stuff, and his name was Mr. Get It Done. So I became Mr. Get It Done. Yeah, I became Mr. Get It Done Junior. So I'm not a planner, and that's something that I had to learn, especially that's something that we had to compromise on, because I'll just get up and do and not worry about, because I know the money's gonna come. You know, we're hustling, we're doing what we got to do.
That's
and
like
stuff.
my fiance and myself. We're the same way. I feel like as moms, you know, with kids, we naturally are just that way too. It's just easier when you have multiple kids and so many things. I even now like carry a planner when I never in my life ever even did that, but I rely on that for everything. Yeah. But you know, like
I would love to get to that.
But like the same thing, like, you know, with the whole financial aspect, like it's my kids, like, you know, in my sense, we're trying to get, you know, buy a house. So it's like learning how to, I tell him, I'm like, we don't have to spend this, or I don't need that because I want to spend, we have to save for here. You know, him is like, you know, it's going to be there regardless, just go do it. And, you know, teaching my kids too, because my kids are always like, you know, when are you going to get the house? Like they think it's just so simple, not realizing that it's a process.
Yeah,
and
it is.
a lot of things go into play. And, you know, if you have to work on your credit, you have to have a down payment, you have to do on this. And, you know, they don't understand that. But those are things that I have to, and I have this conversation with my kids so they can understand why it's taking us this long, or it's not going to happen overnight. You know, so they're like, credit, what's that? And it's like, oh, credit, like this is what you need, and please take care of it. My oldest, you know, I see him, he gets pre-approvals all the time in the mail. And he's
my
like,
daughter just
I can get that. And I'm like, don't you? I said, listen to me.
My oldest daughter's 20, and she was like, Mom, I need a credit card. And I was right on board, but before saying anything, I was like, why?
Right.
Because I want to know what is her intention.
You
know,
absolutely.
and she's like, oh, because eventually I want to buy a car and I'm going to need to establish credit. And I was like, I did something right. I did something. And you, at 20 years old, I didn't think about buying a car until I was much older. So I think that teaching them that and showing them the numbers and saying, this is how many hours you have to work in order to gain these things that you guys like. Yes, Mommy and Daddy provide it very easily for you, but this is all the effort that goes into it. And I think it also gives our kids a higher level of appreciation for us and our hard work and the work ethic and the things that we have to do in order to give them the very nice, comfortable life.
Going off of what you just said too, I feel like that also comes with being Latinas, like in the Latin culture, culturally, right? I feel like our parents back then also didn't teach us any of that. So we had to kind of figure this out later in life.
Well, see, again, though, it's not so much that they didn't teach it, did they have the information, right?
No, right,
so
that too. They didn't have it.
Right, so that's one of the things. Yeah, so that's one of the things that I also talk about as well is you know, because at one point I was a little upset when, you know, I started to learn a lot of these things. I'm like, yo, why wasn't this something that I was told?
You can't teach something you don't know.
Right, you can't. And then even when that being said, when it comes to certain behaviors and stuff, right? It doesn't just have to be financially.
No, it really applies to everything.
Right?
It applies to everything. You know, like I said, my oldest daughter, her father is not around. I raised her by myself from a very young age, and I have no anger towards him for his
that's
choices,
a beautiful thing.
because he did not have a father, and there were multiple children in his household, and their fathers were not present, and I cannot expect something from him that he has never been shown. He does not know.
Yeah, that's something I had to learn. I'm not gonna lie.
And it's difficult. It's difficult to kind of see other people's perspectives about certain things at times, but I think it makes us better, as a whole, as a when dealing with others. But yeah, absolutely. You cannot expect anything from anyone or anything if that initial education, exposure, experience.
Yeah, because I didn't learn about credit till once I was probably a teenager, like probably my senior year, that I saw my mom go through the process of selling the house that I was raised in and buying her own house. Actually, and like the whole process, and I understood it. And I was like, oh my God, wow. But I didn't know anything about that prior, and like now it's something that I try to teach and talk about it more so they get an understanding. That like my oldest more so, because now he's kind of at that age. And he gets things about credit and all that stuff. And I said, listen, you want a new car, you're gonna need good credit. So it's something, changing again the cycle of not being ignorant and be like, oh, whatever, like I'm not gonna teach them, but they have to know.
Right. So if y'all don't mind me asking, so how do you guys plan teaching them about credit, or like what are some of the things that y'all are talking to them about when it comes to credit?
So for me, my younger ones, so right now my middle one, my 15-year-old has a Cash App card.
Okay.
Which she's not really like establishing credit or anything like that. But she's learning how to budget her money.
Okay.
So giving her some money and then letting me not controlling how she spends it, she's learning how quickly that goes.
Okay.
My older one, absolutely, I have those conversations with her. But
same way.
I'm like, listen, you want to buy anything in life, you need to establish credit. And in order to establish credit, you have a job, you have to save some money, you have to put it away, you have to... She's not at the point where she can invest, but...
So now, why you say she's not at the point where she can invest?
Only because she's not making that type of money.
What type of money to see? So now this is where financial literacy comes into play.
It does. Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So you don't have to have hundreds.
Money.
This is something that I learned.
And I actually have, and I actually read on that. You don't actually have to have thousands and thousands.
You don't have to have
no,
thousands
absolutely.
of dollars.
Trust me, I invested, I think, in my first business with less than $100.
Right, that's an investment. You don't have to have hundreds and thousands of dollars. You can start off with $10. You know, but now again, it's all about how you structure things and how you manage it. Right. So, and then another thing is, this day and age, we look for instant gratification.
Oh yes,
right.
That's the culture.
Right. So if you're looking for instant gratification, then you're on your way to fail.
Right.
With investing is all about the long term.
Right.
So you can start off with $10, $20 and then go from $10, $20 and that $10, $20 turn into $50, $60, and now you reinvest.
Right.
You dividends and things of that nature. So this is something that we have to start teaching, that you don't have to have thousands of dollars. So that's one of the things that we are kind of taught. And then on top of that, what I was taught, don't have a whole lot of credit cards, don't have a whole lot of debt. Debt is actually good. There's good debt and then there's bad debt. It's all about how you leverage it. That's my favorite word. Leveraging the debt.
I agree.
You understand?
Yeah,
so,
I do.
But we've been taught. That's one of the things my grandfather always used to get on me about, is like, don't have a whole bunch of credit cards. Don't use the credit cards if you do have them. But then when you don't use them, you have an 850 credit score. And this is something that I learned. You have an 850 credit score and think that you're, thebomb.com and go in and try to get a loan, and you won't get a loan because you don't have a good profile. You don't have a good mixture of different credit. So, and they will deny you if you have an 850. It's not about the credit score. It's all about the profile, the relationships you built with certain banks and things. So,
parents, are we listening to that? Teach that to our kids. Put that in their heads.
It is a real conversation to have.
Absolutely.
And I think that I've started, like, for me, I'm just starting like those stepping stones and teaching her, okay, now you're going to pay for your own cell phone, and now you're going to start these little bills and increments and things where she's able to start learning how to budget and manage her money. I think that it's a good stepping stone.
No, absolutely. And when they're at that age, 15, 16 years old, especially if your credit is good, you can add them as a
Yes.
authorized user.
Yeah.
And now
This will help them.
and it helped them, and it takes
That makes
them,
me sweat.
Yeah.
Not that she's gonna have any access.
You don't have to
I know.
Yeah, they don't need to have the actual card.
Yeah, you don't have to have the actual card and stuff, but to get them started with their credit and if they stuff, because again, is also the length of time that they had credit. So
Okay.
all of that also plays a part into the credit game as well. So if they started out at 16 years old having a Discover card or American Express or whatever the case is, by the time they're 20, they can probably go into anywhere and get anything they want
Right.
to if they manage it the proper way, right?
Okay.
So that's going to be a goal. We're going to set that goal.
Yes.
Before we're going to give ourselves like a 3-month mark, and we're going to revisit the conversation.
Yeah.
All right, let's set a goal and see what we have put into place to help our children
Right. Mm-hmm.
gain a little bit more financial literacy and start building those stepping stones for credit.
Yeah.
Yep.
We do have to wrap it up here.
Yes, we do.
And
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We definitely thank you so much
Thank
for
you
your
so much.
contributions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally, I enjoyed this very much. I hope
glad.
they get invited
Well, you're always
back.
welcome back to the
well,
Yes.
I would
to our
love
show.
to.
We're gonna have like a whole part 2. We're gonna talk about
Yeah.
establishing. I think we should definitely talk about establishing credit for our kids.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we were, coming into this, we were talking about how like nobody had that conversation with us, and I think it took us too long
Right.
to get to that point. And just like needing credit in order to build for your family and
For your
provide for your
future.
family.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
we can definitely have a part 2 conversation
definitely
and come
do
in
it.
Whenever
with
you're
some
ready, just let us
heavy
know.
hitting facts here
That'd be great.
to
That'd be
help
great.
everybody out.
I would love that.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Omar,
thank you
for
so much,
joining
Omar.
us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Catch us on.
If you
go
guys
ahead.
don't mind, I do have a website, getlisted with MrJones.com. So if you guys,
we will list it. We
yeah,
will
I
definitely list that
appreciate it. Yeah,
information
definitely.
for you guys.
I do credit repair as well. So those things, and
Look
yeah,
at that.
That's why he was ready. He was ready for that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I enjoy, getting the information out there.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know everything, and I'm still learning. And as we were speaking before, as long as you're willing to learn, and provide that information, that's something that I'm always willing to do, is provide the information that I have. I'm not looking to get any money. There's too many people out here that's just, you got to pay me $500
Right.
for this.
Not willing to help unless you're willing to
Yeah,
give first.
if you really
That's
making
nice.
money the way you say you're making money, and you're doing these
Then you don't need
great
help.
things, you don't
You can-
need for somebody to pay you $500 for the knowledge that you have.
Right.
And again, everybody's not going to utilize the knowledge either. So that's one of the things that I have a problem with a lot of us as well, is that we'll have these conversations and then we won't apply the knowledge, right? And that's
You
the
could,
thing.
what did it say? You could take the horse to the water, but
and
you can't make him drink it.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So no, but we're gonna put it into
Oh, yeah,
motion.
let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
You
For
can-
all our
we're gonna
followers.
follow up and
Absolutely.
revisit this
Awesome.
definitely.
If you guys
so that
have
we
any
get it done.
questions, you can guys, DM us, email us. You can even go to his website.
Please, yeah.
He's
Yes.
available
Yep,
for anyone
yep.
who's trying to fix their
We
credit. You
will-
want to buy that home,
Buy that
get your
house,
first
absolutely,
car.
yeah.
Listen,
We'll link
it's
his
all
information
possible.
so you can reach out to him. You can always reach us, Mayhem on the Mic, at Instagram.
Yes.
If you want to email us, Mayhem on the Mic podcast at gmail.com. And catch us on YouTube, Mayhem on the Mic,
Or Latino Mixx.
Latino Mixx.
All right, and we'll wrap it up today.
And
it was
we'll
a
see
pleasure
you
having
guys-
you again once
It was
again, and we'll
much-
see you
much a
guys next
pleasure.
week.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so
See you
much
guys
for
next
having me.
time.